It's another D&D woof. Oh, what the hell, mate? Well, yeah, that's because... Hello, and welcome to the... No, this is not going to work, is it? No, hang on. Yep, I thought it might help. I've got a cold sore, and I thought my face was far too hideous for it to be on camera. But that's not going to work, is it? So I apologise for that. Welcome to the Battling Barrow and another D&D campaign waffle session. I can't get my words out already. This bodes well for this video, doesn't it? Yes, we're going to carry on exploring the tropical island. So yes, last time, as a reward for rescuing Princess MacGuffin, the party got a small island, 6 miles long. So we started to explore that in the last session, or last session before they got the island, and we explored it in the last session. And it's 6 miles long, so I made it sort of roughly, the hex was 1 furlong, which is about 600 foot, 660 foot, and we're exploring that, and we're starting off pretty much almost in the same location from where we left off last time. We left off in what they're now calling Harpy Cove, because there was a harpy cave in this cove, and there it's now covered in harpy guts and what have you, because of the they managed to clear out the cave, and they're a hex down from this cove, so about 600 foot from where we left off last time, and they are sitting on the beach. They've been there for a few days, not really doing much, just setting up camp, enjoying the peace and tranquility of a tropical island. When Ranger, you would think you'd know this, Walker, the Ranger, but he's looking up in the sky, and it's down to Galfenwith to look across the sea into the sea, and she sees a little speck coming towards her. It looks like a boat, and suddenly she sees a sort of not a big boat, but like a kill boat coming, sort of seems to be chasing it, coming behind. Just sort of appears almost by magic. And she goes to prepare a spell to attack the person, and it's that point where the person from the first boat cries out, and it's their missing friend Angrafol from ages ago. He's back. He cries out and sort of says, "No, don't shoot, I'm being chased," which he isn't really. He'd cast a minor illusion to make it look like a boat's been chasing him, but it's only because the minor illusions only cast a small area. He cast it as a sort of 2D billboard that was just facing the players, because he's a bit of a prankster, which we saw last time, and even more so in this session. And they meet up, and there's a joyous reunion. They ask him, obviously the obvious question we all want to know is what happened to him, and he says, well, they got lost in the mist, and when he managed to sort of almost catch up with them, there was a whole Gnoll army between him and them, so he didn't want to risk that, so he went back to town to wait for them, but got sidetracked there due to certain criminal organisations catching up with him, and so he went into hiding, and then by that time they'd got their next job, and he managed to sort of earwig some information that they'd gone to Mingrafad, and then he travelled down to there. Then he found out they'd gone on somewhere else, and then got rewarded in an island. He travelled to Irendi, asked around about the location of this said island, and got some information. Long and short of it was, he managed to track down the island. They are super happy to have him back, and we are a three-person party again, which is great. They decide to explore the island. Now, last time I am continuing this. There was no real prep work to this. I'm not planning anything out. There's prep work, no planning, no adventure written. It's just explore the island. Now, I did a load of prep work last time, but it was completely wrong because I prepped for the open sea and we're on an island. So this time, I've taken inspiration from X6 Quagmire and sort of based. There's a load of tables and charts and that. I've sort of converted those sort of 5e. Going to make that available to my patrons. The open water one, it already is up there for patrons. I'm going to put this available on there hopefully in the next few days, and we're going to use that. So it's you can generate an island by tables. There's Then different terrain types, and per the terrain type you're on, you can roll for the encounter, and etc, etc. There's monsters, there's sort of mini adventures. It's all good. So we explore. They want to go northwest. We're exploring around the top of the cliff face, and it was here they get one encounter. There is some debris down on the shore below them. So Angrafol, who is very dexterous, decides to climb down there and root through. Something catches his eye, and it's a bottle, and inside is a message, a bit of paper. Now I was going to re-roll this encounter because it's so cliche. The first one I roll is cliche because inside there is a map. It's a pirate treasure map, and I thought that is a bit on the nose. I was going to re-roll it, but I thought, no, the dice have decided this. Let's roll with it. And I quickly drew out the map, and it was based on the island they're on. And there is sort of a little smaller island to the south of the island. If you remember from the map last week, I don't have my map handy with me, I don't believe, to show you. No, unfortunately not. So hopefully I'll remember to superimpose it on the screen here. I probably won't. I'll probably forget. So anyway, so what I did is I based the map on that and had a little line going round pointing to this small island with a big X. So yes, inside there is a map, a treasure map by the pirate, and at this stage, of course, I didn't have a name, but luckily I have this handy crew name from, I think it comes from Ghost of Saltmarsh, that I sort of copied and printed out and stuck onto some magnetic things on my DM screen, and I rolled, I'm trying to look at it, yes, 17 and a 2, so the pirate's name was Pretty Eye, and then I came up with my Erendi names, and his real name was Paul Fletcher, probably from Fletcher Island of Erendi. Paul Fletcher became a notorious pirate called Pretty Eye. It's something to do with having his eye got messed up and he wears a patch over it. This is centuries ago, Pretty Eye. And so that he buried his treasure on this island, and that was his map. How it become into a bottle in the player's possession, who knows? Something for a future adventure, maybe, who knows? But they then decide to abandon their search of the island and dig up this treasure. Now, in my prep work, I created a mini pirate cache adventure, and this involves it being buried in a cemetery. So they decide to make their way back to where they started, use Angrafol's little rowboat to row to the pier where their bigger boat is. It's not that much bigger, but it's still bigger, and they head off towards the island. They get there, and it's only a small island. They search around, they can see some tracks, some fresh, some not so fresh. And they make their way up to the top of the island, and at the top there is a little graveyard with 12 graves upon it. The treasure must be in one of these graves. It doesn't say what grave it's under. I should point out, in my usual waffle session, I forgot along the way they encountered some sharks, one of them being a were-shark, but it was friendly. And I'm going to have to jump back to this because, yes, it was a friendly were-shark, a Triton were-shark. Now, if you remember the adventure War Rafts of Kron, there was a were-shark encounter there that I sort of misread and thought it was meant to be an evil were-shark, so the players obliterated this were-shark before he even got a chance to move. And then at the end I read, oh, he was meant to help him, he was a friendly were-shark. Well, this were-shark encounter is the brother of that were-shark, and they were both ostracised from Suffus at the same time, and he's looking for his missing brother. I thought I'd go for the emotional stab on the strings, make the party feel really guilty for my mistake. It sort of worked. They felt really bad, and I felt bad, and then we carried on looking for the pirate treasure, got to the island, and now we're back up to date. Whew. Yes, so there's 12 graves, and of course, the players, each time they went to a grave, they wanted to know whose grave it was. So this chart got a good thrashing in this game. There is the way the adventure runs is you roll on it and see once they dig down, and so it's going to take about an hour to dig, unless there's 3 of them digging, which then takes 20 minutes. Handily, there was an open grave there with 3 shovels there already, so yay! So they dig down the first one, and I'm not going to go through all the names, but they were pretty silly names like Handsome Rat and Clever Beard, just to pick somewhat random from here. And they're digging down. Now the way it works is, as I said, once you dig down and open it, you roll on another chart, and for the most part it's going to be a dead human corpse. Maybe a dead elf corpse, maybe a dead dwarf corpse. Sometimes it's going to be an undead, and sometimes it's going to be the treasure. The very last coffin you're going to dig, if you haven't found it already, will be the pirate's treasure stash cache. There is a minor treasure as well that you just use the DM's roll in the DM book to get a sort of gem or what have you. They find that one quite quickly, but then carry on thinking this can't be the treasure. You wouldn't make a map just for 1 gem, and they carry on. Mostly they find just corpses. Wolfie digs up. It has been digging solo during their first 3 attempts, so gets to the hour mark while they're on another grave. He digs up, finds what looks like a corpse, but its eyes flick open, and it is in fact a ghoul who has dug his way in there, probably via some underground tunnel, to feast on the remains in there, because that's what they like doing, because they're vile, disgusting creatures. And he gets attacked, and then they quickly dispatch him because they're a big party. This isn't meant to be a life or death situation, just a little minor. There's a whole party versus 1 creature in a grave. It's just a minor bit of fun. And carry on digging, and they get to the last grave, and they still haven't found the big treasure, and it's now nightfall. So the atmosphere is on. I'm already hoping that it's going to be an undead. They ask me for the name, and I roll. So I can't remember what the first part is. I think it was. I honestly can't remember, but the second part was I again. And they're like, oh, perhaps this is a relationship to Pretty Eye, like a brother or what have you. This has got to be the treasure location. I mean, it's the last grave. It pretty much is going to be the treasure one, but that's their thinking. They think it's now like I've planned this out, which I haven't. They dig down, and sure enough, there's a load of treasure in there, but there's also a gnome. We rolled like a gnome, and it's a zombie gnome. And up it comes. They dispatch it, but undead fortitude means the zombie can come back. Unfortunately, it did such a massive amount of damage on it, there's no way I'm going to get it to come back, and it remains dead for good. And they find a load of treasure, which is nice. It's all sort of, there's no gold or anything, it's all just items. There's a spear of returning, a ring of water breathing, I think it is, or water adaptation, water breathing, something like that. And I forget what the other thing was. There was something else in there as well. Pretty much something for each of the party members. And they're just about to head off when they hear something. Footsteps approaching from the other side of the island. They wait, and then some guards appear, all armoured up. They look uncomfortable in their armour, like they don't often wear it. Now, if you know anything about Erendi, it's pretty much a tropical paradise, and no one likes being indoors or wearing uniforms. And these are guards of Erendi, the main island itself, come to bring the players to see someone there. And they're quite chill guards, and the players quickly ascertain that these are friendly and not any threat. There's a bit of roleplay going on. There is names being asked again. So on this, I also have crew name things I have to rely on, but I also made my own Erendi name generator. This will be available on Patreon as well. And so the name I come up for the Captain of Guard is Den Hoak. He is captain of the ship called the Dandy Flower, and he wants to take the players to see a Baron who wants to have a little word with them. Friendly word, a job offer, as you were. At this point, I couldn't remember a suitable name for a Baron, so I relied on my childhood and my fighting fantasy, love of fighting fantasy books, and so the Baron was called Baron Suckenfit. Now, if you know where that comes from, leave it in the comments where I got that name from. Obviously, fighting fantasy, but what book? Yes, that's the first thing on the top of my head come from. And so they go to Erendi and to a tavern. Now again, I've got a tavern name generator, a coastal tavern name generator. It's all going to be coastal themed, perfect for this. And the tavern is the Silver Fisherman. And we go into the tavern. Angrafol is on level 6. Is now multi-classing. I should point out. Should have pointed this out at the beginning. That's why I plan these waffle sessions out. And he was a swashbuckler rogue, but he's also now multi-classing as a bard, and so he does, well, as soon as he gets into the pub, he starts playing his lute that he's got and singing songs. In fact, on the ship, I should point out, on the ship ride over, he did the same here. He busted out his lute to keep them all entertained. We had some sea shanties, which was excellent fun. That's my favourite bit of this whole nautical bit, getting aboard the boats and ships and having sea shanties. The crew become enamoured with him, really liked him, and they got a reputation with him, brought up a rapport, shall we say. So when we got to the tavern, we do it again, and we're all in high spirits, which pleases them, it pleases the Baron. He has a little job for him. He wants to get some produce he exports, some rum, imported into a little town in the southwestern part of Keramikos, which is a town that's about to celebrate a bicentennial celebration. But due to it being in the Black Eagle Barony, the Traladarians want to have this celebration, and the guard there, Baron von Ludwig's guard, not so keen, and they're a bit poo-pooing the idea. So they banned import of rum, which they want for the celebrations. So Baron Suckenfit will export some. It's a smuggling operation, effectively. We're going to have a smuggling quest. So they have some negotiations. The Baron offers them some secret weapons. These are going to be effectively flintlock pistols, but they're going to be governed by magic and not black powder, and the only magicians that can do this are the ones on, I think it's Honor Island in Erendi. So we're going to have some flintlocks, we're going to have house rules, but they're going to be magical in the sense of that's what's going to fire the projectile. It's not going to fire a spell, it's just going to be a magic to fire the projectile out. And also cannons as well, and he'll offer them a discount ship and free of these flintlock pistols if they undertake this mission for him. It's not a free ship, he'll have words with the Mage Marine and try and get them a best deal possible. They're in the market for a ship. They were going to come to the island this adventure at some point anyway to try and buy one, cure one, because they want a bigger ship. And so this all works out. During the negotiations to get the pistols, originally it was just going to be a discount ship, but to get the pistols, there was Angrafol decides to have a competition, and he picks the terms, and it's a holding your breath underwater competition. So the Baron picks his best person, who happens to be a lady in this case. She can hold her breath the longest, and the competition goes ahead. Now, if you remember, Angrafol got the ring from the treasure cache earlier, slips it on, and is able to hold his breath for way longer than the Baron's woman. And so he wins, and they get the extra pistols. I was always planning to introduce these pistols, but I was going to do it later rather than now, but hey, that's the way these things work out. So they get information about the job. It's in a town called Saltmarsh. Now, those of you who know Deendale really well will know that Saltmarsh is in fact in Greyhawk. Being we've got the I'm pillaging left, right and centre from the Ghosts of Saltmarsh book, I might as well run the adventure, but I'm not actually going to run the adventure straight away. I just want to use the town because we're getting near Halloween now, believe it or not, and I wanted to run a Halloween game. Right when I started this campaign I had one planned, but due to the nature of this campaign we've changed our minds on just how it goes sometimes. From what I started to where we are now is totally different, so what I had planned won't work, so I need something nautical. So Saltmarsh sort of fits that, plus then we can run Sinister Secrets of Saltmarsh and all the other adventures found within there once we're in Saltmarsh, as well as doing other things. But I've got a custom Halloween game, but I needed a sort of spooky harbour town for it, and why not use Saltmarsh? The book itself has different location settings for it, and as an aside, that's how I wish books were done. I wish Wizards would do campaign setting books of each of their campaigns, but the adventure books are setting agnostic. I'd love that, and it just gives you little blockouts for how you can set them in different campaign settings, like what Saltmarsh does. That is a great idea. Plus the book then wouldn't need to be as thick. Not each adventure module would need to be a hardback, because you don't have to worry about getting the setting information in there. You can revert back to the old days of having 30 to 60 page adventure modules, making it cheaper for us to buy, meaning we would probably buy more, because I know I can't afford 40 or 50 quid each time I want to get a module book, so I only own 2, and one of those I regret. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So yes, so they need to go to Saltmarsh. They need to speak to someone called Gillian Primewater, who is organising, who is on the tribunal, the council, and he's organising the bicentennial festival celebration, and he's also has a little smuggling operation that unbeknownst to anyone else. So they've got to get the rum to him, and he will do the rest. And that is as much as I got planned for it, and I'm not going to plan anything else other than that. A few NPCs, which are already in the book, and plus some extra ones I want. It's going to be up to the players how they sneak past the town guard to get this rum to Gellum. And that is where we're going to leave it this week. I'm really looking forward to the next session to see how this goes. So the next session will be the smuggling one. It might take another session to do that or what have you, and then I'm going to run the Halloween game in Saltmarsh, which I'm really looking forward to. It's based on a classic film that I love. When I say based on it, it's like obviously it's not going to be beat by beat story wise, because the players are their own entity, they have their own agency. So anyway, it's enough waffle for me. Till the next time guys, stay safe, take care.